the cliche is you become the 5 people you surround yourself with. However, I like to say it's the 5 people you spend the most time with, not necessarily who you surround yourself with. Because in order to feel gratitude, you must have a certain level of humility. You must realize that things bigger than yourself is what got you to where you are. I have yet to find anybody in the hypercar group, the watch group, the quote unquote success group that does not express gratitude. When I used to coach his team back when he was in elementary and junior high school, I could only coach to the level of the least skilled player. So that means if the least skilled player is here and there's a wide gap between the best player, that best player is never getting any better, because you never want to be in the same group where you're the best, the top dog anyways, because you're never learning. No one's pushing you. But if you're like in that lower tier, but in a tight range where you're, let's say you're not the most skilled, but you're good, then the most skilled guys bring you up. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the N2N podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. N2N, also known as the Prolific Ninja, or Ninja, by my family and friends, because my fans and my friends, you can call me Ninja too. This is the N2N podcast, the alpha to the omega, the beginning, the end time of life, motivation, drive, success, self-improvement, and offering you morsels in this all-you-can-eat buffet, and it is a buffet called life. We're back in a hot studio here. It's summertime in Houston. It's hot, humid. I'm sweating my ass off. But that does not discourage me from being grateful to be here in front of you all today. So if you're new to the show, or if you've been listening for a while, you know I'm a doctor, lawyer, business guy, have a law firm in Houston, westlooplaw.com. Personal injury, mass tort litigation. For the last 23 years, we've been helping thousands of clients recover millions of dollars in settlements. Involved with a lot of tech, AI projects, consumer goods projects, 1925 tequila, all these things. But I'm not able to do all these things without support and the support of you all. So if you're new to the show, if you've been listening for a while, you know that before I when I wake up in the morning, sorry, it's been a July 4th weekend. When I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is give thanks to God and the universe for the opportunity to be great, the opportunity to inspire just one person. That's all I need, one person daily to live to their fullest controllable potential. Hopefully that's you today. And if it is, I want you to restore karmic balance to me, which is share the show. So I'm grateful for my supporters, but also I'm giving you free game through this podcast, through this knowledge I'm about to share as it relates to July 4th and the things that have transpired, but in order to restore the balance between you and I, because I'm giving you this for free. If you've been inspired by this episode or any other episode, please do share the show. That's how we restore the karmic balance. I like to say, if your knowledge swells, share the show. That is how we grow. Or else, go to westlooplaw.com. Download the Cura Connector, C-U-R-A Connector app on the Apple Store, or download the MyMedi app, MyMeddi, off the Apple Store. That is the way you can restore the balance, or buy a bottle of 1925 tequila at your local liquor store. In any event, what a fantastic weekend. America celebrated its 250th birthday. I was involved in a car rally in North Texas to the largest mansion in all of Texas, something like 60,000 square feet of wholesome goodness, 50-plus hyper supercars, helicopters, cannons, horses, cowboys, the military, just everything Americana, which I'm so grateful for, put on by the Exotics Network. And as a partner of the Exotics Network, it's been a fantastic relationship. Having done that event and realizing what my life has been through as we celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States of America, the only thing I could feel the entire time as I'm driving my supercar, my wife and my daughter is in hers, we're surrounded by all these great people, was just an overwhelming sense of awe and gratitude, just gratefulness. If you don't know my story, my parents and my immediate brothers, my immediate family, basically, the 6 of us immigrated from Vietnam at the end of the Vietnam War in 75. My parents were very well off in Vietnam, left everything behind, started with zero. It's the equivalent of me and my wife just looking at each other and say, let's go start over in, I don't know, Zimbabwe, where we don't speak the language, don't understand the culture, don't know society, whatever, and starting over from scratch. That's the same thing that they did back in the 70s, but they had no choice because they were leaving the Vietnam War. They were, we're from the South. The North Communists won. We had to leave or else go to re-education camps. So in that regard, we come to America. They realized the American dream, set up a small business, busted their ass. I grew up in the business. We all bust our ass. and made quite a bit of money for that time period, $4 or $5 million in the 80s and 90s a year in revenue. And so under that foundation and backdrop, that's how I became a lawyer, doctor, had my law firm for 23 years, set up all these companies, bringing this podcast to you. I could not otherwise feel anything but gratitude for this country, for the sacrifices people have made since the 250 years, for where it's going now. Obviously, it's not the utopia everybody dreams of, but it is the greatest planet on the earth. For opportunity, if you put your mind to it, put the right effort into it, dedicate yourself, learn from mistakes, and find the right partners, right? And why do I go through this kind of diatribe about gratitude? Because it's that last part that matters a lot, is finding the right partners, because success is never built by yourself. Now, you might have the idea, you might start it yourself, you might, it's hard to build a one-man show, right? So along that path, even though you are the originator, it's going to take partners with the right people. Obviously, with this event, partner with the Exotics Network out of Austin, the largest exotics car group in North America. But why do I say this? Because the cliche is you become the 5 people you surround yourself with, right? You become the amalgamation of all of those 5. However, I like to say it's the 5 people you spend the most time with, not necessarily who you surround yourself with. You become that. You might take a piece of a personality profile or a type over here, somebody over here, but how do you curate that group? Right? And that group is never the permanent group. You'll always continue to move as far as so let's separate personal from professional, like what you want to do out of your life and your goals. Those might be 2 separate groups of people and personality types. But I'm talking about the pathway to success. I say this because those 5, 6, 7 people you spend the most time with, there are qualities that you want to surround yourself with to help propel you to that next step, or the next level of wherever you are, okay? And gratitude is one of those things that you need to look for in that immediate group you spend the most time with. Again, you become a consolidation or amalgamation of the 5, 6, 7 people you spend the most time with. And why do I say gratitude is one of the qualities you must look for in that tight circle? Because in order to feel gratitude, you must have a certain level of humility. You must realize that things bigger than yourself is what got you to where you are. I have yet to find anybody in the hypercar group, the watch group, the quote unquote success group that does not express gratitude. Gratitude actually is one of my tenets, my values in all the companies that I work that I'm involved with. You must be able to express gratitude, because with gratitude comes humility, and with humility means lower ego. And lower ego allows what? For evolution and growth. Because if your ego is massive, which, you're going to have a big ego to be successful, of course. But an ego so grand that you're not allowed to learn or see things beyond that are bigger than yourself prevents you from seeing things bigger and beyond yourself. And so when you have that humility amongst your circle, people are willing to learn from one another. Versus you've been in these groups, I've been in them, where there's somebody, some guy, some girl thinks they know everything, and nothing gets done because we can't get past the fact that that person knows everything. And a person that knows everything is what? Never wrong. And when you're never wrong, you cannot grow, you have no humility, and you're unable to progress to a next step of learning, of evolution, because, quote, you already know everything. So gratitude is a proxy for humility, which is also a proxy for lower ego. And therefore, that's the type of people you're looking for. Successful people with a measured ego. Obviously, again, success requires a big ego. Success requires a belief that you can accomplish something other people have not, which requires a big ego. So therefore, I'm saying ego, a measured ego, where you understand things are bigger than yourself. And when you do that, that brings out a gratitude, a gratefulness for whatever the circumstance is. For in this example, the United States of America. Grateful for the USA and everybody that lives here that makes this the country it is, because without that, I would not be here in front of you. So gratitude is the number one thing I look for in my circle of close people. The willingness to say, hey, I'm grateful for something bigger, because my ego understands that it's not just about me that got me to this point. It is my work. It is my sweat, blood, tears, all that stuff. But it's also bigger than me that's gotten me here. Okay, so that's one. Number two is that 5, 6, 7 people, there cannot be a massive range between the whoever's, quote unquote, the top and whoever's in the bottom. I'm talking about skill level, value system, approach to life. That range cannot be wide. Why do I say that? Because I'll give you an example. When I used to coach basketball for my son, who's now a D1, mid-major D1 basketball player. When I used to coach his team back when he was in elementary and junior high school, I could only coach to the level of the least skilled player. So that means if the least skilled player is here and there's a wide gap between the best player, that best player is never getting any better, because I have to coach. I must coach to the lowest skilled player. So therefore, I am slowing everything down for that least skilled player. It's your chain is only as strong as its weakest link. That's a cliche because it's true. Your organization, your group, your interpersonal growth cannot grow faster than the weakest person in that group. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying people are at different levels. That's a matter of fact. So you cannot grow faster than the slowest or weakest or least skilled person in your group, the least experienced person. So what I witnessed throughout the course of this time, as we've gone to hundreds and hundreds of tournaments, watching hundreds of teams, is that the best teams have the narrowest range between their top guy or gal and their weakest guy or gal. When that range is small, that means the unit can move more cohesively together because almost everybody is on the same level. But if you have a superstar player that, can do whatever, but then you have somebody that can barely dribble, guess what happens? That superstar player can't grow. Can't grow. So amongst your group, try to keep the range of experience, skill, whatever you're looking for, whatever characteristics or attributes that are required to be successful, look for a narrow range within that. Okay? And hopefully you are in that lower portion, because you never want to be in the same group where you're the best, the top dog anyways, because you're never learning. No one's pushing you. But if you're like in that lower tier, but in a tight range where let's say you're not the most skilled, but you're good, then the most skilled guys bring you up. It's like when I play golf with I'm not a great golfer. I'm decent on a good day. But if I play golf with guys better than me, it forces me to have to work harder to keep up with those guys. That's who I am. I'm not like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to hack around while y'all kick ass. I don't like that. I don't like that vibe. So you want to put yourself in groups, conversations, where the range is narrow, but you're not the top dog. So that way you can elevate within that. And then around there, you might get tired of that group and you might evolve into another group that's above that group. And I'm not to say people are, you use people like that. You always keep your relationships, but your tight relationships that might evolve over time, just like your life. Right? If you find yourself the top dog in your group and you're never advancing and you're staying then you're never going to grow. You just aren't. And this applies to family and friends. I mean, I got 3 brothers. I don't hang around with them at all because we don't relate at all, which leads to the third component, which is a matching of values, right? So gratitude, narrow range, a matching of values. Those are the 3 main things I look for in my circle of group, my close circle. And the matching of values is understanding, and I had this conversation with my team of 40 people at the law firm. Great companies are built on culture, and culture is built on values. And why is that important? Because in this example with my law firm, I'm not there all the time. So I can't answer every single question that pops up. If there's a problem, a challenge, what do I do in this circumstance, this situation, right? at least if we can all agree on our values, and we have, I think, 10 of them, and we all agree on that and we all live by that, I understand when I'm not there, my team is going to make the best decision that aligns best with the values we have, right? And so that applies same in your circle of friends. If you all have the same value system, you know when there's a question, a misunderstanding, or whatever, everybody's going to lean into the same values that you all share together. One of those might be gratitude, right? One of those might be, hey, man, let's go party and do all that, but let's keep our skill sets high in whatever industry we're in. So if I know that, then it takes variability off the table, right? It takes, well, what does that person think? I don't have to worry about that because I know that if their values are good, what they think or feel or whatever is going to be aligned to that values. And so it takes ambiguity off the table. It takes resentment off the table. It makes guessing, who wants to deal with that? Because the higher you get up, there's the less time you have to think about, well, what is that person thinking? Well, how does he feel about that? I mean, you do think about it, but then at the same time, if you're around the same people with the same values in that tight circle, you don't got to worry about what they think because you know their values are true. At the end of the day, what makes them who they are is who they are. And if that's closely aligned to you, then it's easier to grow together. Then like, hey, man, I'm going to go in this direction. I don't know what they think, so maybe I won't, so that we can keep our relationship versus like, I'm going to go in this direction. This person knows that that's the best direction that he would go through, so he's going to go that way also. And it just makes things a lot easier, and you grow together, right? So full circle here, it was just a great event, the largest mansion in Texas. It was Freedom Fest 2026. We had a great time. But I could not help but feel awe-inspired and very grateful for the United States of America, the position I'm in. But it just kind of led to the next thoughts of how do you grow or evolve as the United States has evolved, just like my last podcast episode. How do you grow and evolve with the people you surround yourself with? Because at that event, there were very high-quality people that I was able to associate with. And it just got to me thinking, like, what groups or how does it matter the people that I hang out with? So one, gratitude, people that can express gratitude is symbolic of a lower ego-driven thought process or lifestyle, okay? Number two, keeping that range of that group narrow between the most talented or most successful and the least successful, okay? So that in that, you can interrelate amongst the same common issues and grow together. And then the third part, related to the second, is alignment of the values that you have so that there's less ambiguity, less guessing, and less, quote, therefore, drama amongst that circle of groups that are going to make you evolve into the person you're going to be. So all stem from gratitude. All stems from, being part of a great partnership with the Exotics Network, all the companies that we're working on, the law firm as a partner. We're just excited for what the second half of the year is to bring. It's going to be a great time. With that, curate your circle of 5 or 6 or 7 people that you spend the most time with if you want to continue to grow in the path that you want to grow. So with that, I end the episode as I end my day, which is, of course, if you've been listening for a while, when my head hits a pillow before I close my eyes and drift off to night land, I thank again God and the universe for an opportunity to be great. Hopefully you've inspired just one person. Hopefully that was you through this episode. And if it was, please do restore the karmic balance by sharing the show. If you're knowledge swole, share the show. That's how we grow. Once again, happy birthday, 250th birthday to the United States of America. I am so grateful and blessed to be on this soil. Would not have had it any other way and would not be living the life that I live if it were any other way. So with that, thank you for listening and watching to this episode, and be great today, but be even more grateful, and I'll look forward to bringing you another episode very, very soon.